Welcome back, everybody. Grand Tactician, Civil War. I'm Grumpy Grandpa Gaming, and this is episode 25 of our federal Spring 61 campaign. So, we're now into April, and things should be getting busy this episode. We don't have any new viewer units to add in this time around, so we're going to go jump straight into the historical record, then cover on the map and our plans for the spring offensive. So just once again, as a reminder, these videos are always chaptered, and you can skip around to whichever part you so choose. The letter from Marion Stanton to her fiance, Jerome West, 5th New York Volunteers. Dated 15 March 1862. My dearest Jerome, Papa and Ma are just fine, along with the rest of the family. You're not so very enthused when I mentioned the wonderful land in Texas that you told me about. In fact, we'd move out there after this dumb rebellion was over. Uncle William promised me that he would make sure that a large amount of his business profits would go with us to start our ranch after we were wed. Also, he's talking to a senator friend of his. Said a man like you need to lead from the front. That Senator Charles Sumner would make it happen. Your sister eloped with a card shark from New York and hasn't been heard from in 2 months. I'm in good health and waiting your victorious return to my loving arms. Yours truly, Marion Stanton. P.S. Enclosed are a few books to help you should your new job come through. They are military tactics and such, much too difficult for me to pore through. From the diary, Franklin Malone, Commander Company B, 2nd Regiment, 50th Iowa River Boys. Dated 27 March 1863. Spent all morning marching a few miles north of Dallas, so I think it's the same crossroad we met the Rebs for Christmas. Men only had time to get a meal in before the orders came down. About 5 afternoon, Colonel Ricketts told Victor and myself that our company would be the extreme left of the brigade, with the Derby Hellfires on our right. We were to support the 1st Maine Battery by not letting any Rebs near them. It was around 10-2 when the main battery opened up on a tree line on the right, dust being kicked up on the old farm trail and along the road to our left. Glad your grandpa is good at guessing what roads old Johnny Reb will use. Not long after the main battery opened up, maybe 10-20 minutes, we could hear the sound of gunfire off to the right. As I looked to the right, I watched those Derby boys move forward a yard or two, then turn to the right. Victor came over, pointing off in the distance, what looked like 2 or more rebel brigades coming our way. It wasn't even a minute after we seen those Rebs marching our way, some Reb batteries started firing on the main battery, with a few shells exploding over our heads. It was close to 3:30 when I seen a lone Rebel brigade try to attack somewhere along where the 1st Division was holding. At the same time, looking back to our right, the other brigade started to move up, lining up on the Derby boys. Looking back at the boys, I could see in their eyes they were itching for the fire after all but sitting out the brawl on Christmas. The boys didn't have to wait long before getting into a fight, but it turned out to be some skirmishers that pushed up. Shortly after 4, when a fresh brigade came into view, lining up on us. After a short exchange, that Red brigade broke and started to run. We couldn't let the boys start to celebrate with what looked like a few more brigades starting to stack up. It was almost 5:15 when skirmishers from 2 or more brigades started to open up on us. Around 5:30, a rider from General Grandpa came with orders to push forward. As we started forward, General Ferry came riding up, ordering us to halt, saying he gave no order to move. About a quarter till, General Grandpa came riding up, a look that could have sent the devil running into the hills, with rounds landing at the feet of his horse, only for him to yell, "I order you to advance, damn it! Advance already!" With that, the boys yelled before starting to move forward. As we moved forward, I looked to the left to see the 79th Highlanders, a few yards off in front to our left. It was close to 6 when a Red brigade just started to march at us, not charging, but marching like it were drilling. It was shortly after 6 when I could see the Rebs start to drop their rifles, turn tail, and run. When we stopped firing, most of the men had 1 or 2 rounds left on them. Colonel Ricketts and the whole brigade got a dressing down by General Ferry for disobeying his orders. When we made it back to camp for the night, did I start to think, why couldn't General Ferry have rode out in front of the brigade as the twilight set in? He could have said we fired at a rebel officer. 31 March 1863. Today, Colonel Ricketts told us to keep the men ready so we could march in a moment's notice. Sounds like we're getting ready to move into Indian Territory or eastern Louisiana and Arkansas. But before turning us loose, you ordered me to the Corps Quartermaster to place an order for some new Springfields. Only knowing the Colonel wanted new rifles. Quartermaster X, if Colonel Ricketts wanted the new variant, with our new Springfield Model 63. Not being sure, I said the Model 63, just hoping that's what Colonel Ricketts wanted. Alright, once again, as always, I do love these letters. Diary entries. I can't get enough of them, honestly. Hope everybody else thinks the same thing. As I said, it's now April 1st. So nothing has changed on the map, but we are going to start beginning the spring offensive this episode. What we're going to be doing is 7th Corps is going to be pushing north into Indian Territory over here at Doaksville, start taking down a fortification at Towson. 5th Corps is going to push straight east into Shreveport. 6th Corps is going to push straight east into New Orleans and then up into Baton Rouge, and we should have Louisiana secured at this point. Once Shreveport is secured, 5th Corps will begin a move north into Little Rock, Arkansas. Hopefully 7th can keep the Corps here in Indian Territory tied down without me having to dispatch 5th back in their direction. 2nd Corps is going to push up into Peoria, Illinois, and chase out Stevenson's Corps, which is operating in the area, and then resecure the cities that they have taken in Illinois. The Army of Tennessee is still operating in Kentucky, but they only have 5,500 men, so 2nd Corps, 1st Corps is going to try and keep an eye on them. We're not going to be pushing into Kentucky in this offensive. Spring offensive is strictly Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana. We are not allowed to push across the Mississippi until 1864. So the whole focus of the spring campaign, spring and summer fighting, should be these 3 states right here and the Indian Territory. The only part of the Mississippi we'll be crossing is with 6th Corps pushing into New Orleans and Baton Rouge. I can't secure Louisiana without crossing the Mississippi down here, so that's the only time we're crossing the Mississippi is just this little corner of Louisiana. I was hoping to sail 6th Corps straight into New Orleans, but we still have not taken down Fort St. Philippe. So they do have to march through these marshes to get there. I was hoping to avoid that. Going to lose a lot of men to attrition marching through those marshes, but can't be helped because this fort does not want to fall. If we'd taken it, I could have just sailed these boys in there, secured these 2 cities, and probably run them back up into Indian Territory to help out up there, but probably not going to happen. It's going to take them probably a month or 2 to get through these marshes to get into New Orleans. I think that covers everything we need to cover for right now. It's very straightforward, as I said. So it's now April 1st, so we're going to go straight into the monthlies now. So rating of our economy right now is triple B. Triple B plus, this is triple B. Liabilities currently amount to 989 million. Current economy cycle is contraction. Both population is low and increasing. Is now spring, so the money should start increasing overall. We didn't build any buildings last month, and total export in and out was 1.5 billion even on. Average core production over the last 3 months was 326 million, change negative 3 million. And we are now lacking locomotives on top of everything else. That's a first. I've seen that one pop up in a long time. Actually, locomotives, artillery ammunition, and coffee. Apparently we are good with iron now. I guess we caught up on some things. Not used to seeing that happen. Financially, we're still spending 213 million more than we are bringing in, though that's actually not that bad. That number keeps dropping, which means we are getting better at our expenditures. I got no complaints there, but as you can see, the Rebs are spending way more money than we are. Way more money. Outside this one big dip we had here when I constructed another newspaper, we haven't been spending all that much money because we basically have what we need. Outside of me just ordering more Sharps rifles to be constructed. Intelligence-wise, the Rebels are now working on recruitment bounties too, trying to get their numbers up again. They have done subsidized agriculture, Confederate guns, and administration reform. And relations with Great Britain have not changed. I'm no longer trying to purposely help them get relations up with Great Britain because they are doing a fine job of digging themselves into a hole with that. So I'm done trying to pull them out of it. It says they haven't recruited any more men into any brigades. They probably have no more men left to recruit once again. We'll check here in a minute. And they started building another 3 ships for no goddamn reason because they're not using them. And right now, the morale of the Confederate Army sits at 55% as we have killed a lot of their officers. They keep throwing themselves at us, and we just keep creating fresh mass graves for them. And looking at strategy, national morale, we're down to 56 to their 61. That's mostly because they're operating up in Illinois, so we're going to kick those boys out. National support, we're at 62 to their 61. Morale of armies, we're at 67 to their 50. Men fielded, we have 204,624 in the field to their 178,691. See, their numbers were about even to us at one point, and we just keep laying these boys out. They ain't got much left of a fight left in them. They do not. They are basically out of people to throw at us. Total casualties, we're sitting at 97,869 to their 279,589. The only way for them to catch up personnel-wise would be to enact their own Emancipation Proclamation, but that's not going to happen. All right, policies. We are just finishing up on Government Funding 3. That will be done in 2 days. As soon as that is complete, once again, we'll be going to the Bank Act, which will take another 54 days. As soon as that is done, we are going to run over into Military 3. So I can start getting theater commands and a lieutenant general in command of all the armies, which will probably be Scott because he's somehow still more famous than General Grandpa. And projects. Really nothing that we need anymore, to be quite honest with you. We're kind of at that point in the game where we have what we need. I mean, we could take suppressed population, occupation administration, counter-propaganda, but the AI's invested so much money into counter-propaganda against us that it's not going to help us at this point. You know what? Might as well pump a little bit of money into it. Try and help us in Texas a little bit with support. I want to take another level of weapons production, but once again, we are saving up for another railroad, so I can't spend that money. And I think we're producing the Sharps rifles as fast as we can. Turn off the industry stuff and go straight military. There's really nothing military-wise that we need or want. Supply reform doesn't help us. That just gives us the larger depots, which we don't need. Guess I could recruit more spies. It's already at level 3. What does that give us? And that money I spent on counter propaganda gave us only negative 1% support for enemies in our own states. Okay, that was a waste of money. Alright. Agents 3 gives us plus 15% on intelligence gathering. Okay, let's pump it up again. That gives us plus 20. We actually have enough money to pump it again, so plus 25. There we go. Hopefully that'll give us some better eyes on what's going on to our north. Alright. It is time to get everybody on the move, so I'll come back in once we have some action going on. Alright, it's now April 14th, and the spring offensive is trundling along. I have 1st Army headquarters rolling along with 7th Corps here. They've already secured Fort Townsend in the Indian Territory and Fort Washita. Now, it looks like Ripley's Corps Army of Texas is going to make an attempt to block us, but they're bringing 13,452 infantry, 189 cavalry, no artillery. Against 7th Corps' 22,703 infantry, 4,700 cavalry, and 45 guns. So, I'm not expecting much out of this fight. They are just trying to basically drop a speed bump in our way as we continue to resecure the territory. We're going to jump into this fight, and I'll see you all on the tactical map. Welcome, everybody, to the Battle of Tishomingo. So we're on the Cottonton map, and like I said, this battle is going to be very, very straightforward. They are actually defending back here by what is that called? Little Nick Ridge. So I doubt they're not going to be up here in Connington. So what I'm going to be doing is sending my cavalry up and around this way, along the little calf trail up to this crossing point here, just in case. Well, I send the 16th Infantry Division, which does have 4 brigades of infantry, and it's straight down the road here with the 5th Artillery Division. And I'm probably not going to need any more than that. I'm probably going to leave the 17th Division in place where it is. I might just bring them along anyway. I'll just bring everybody along. Why not? 1 unit marches, every unit marches. Everybody gets their dusty faces on this one. So, like I said, be straightforward. Probably be about an hour in game before I'm in contact with the Rebs, so I'll be back. All right, it's now moving on to 1250 of day 1. I'm finally in position. So I have the 16th Infantry Division on the right flank of the Rebels. I have the 5th Cavalry Division with the 1st U.S. Cavalry and the Yorkshire Yeomanry up on their left flank. Did bring up the 5th Artillery Division to start bombarding around the objective area. And I got the 17th just moving up here for support, though we're probably not going to need them. So we're going to kick this fight off by just advancing straight into their flanks. There's 4 brigades here. We can just start doing a wraparound on them. Right, Yeomanry start moving up. First Cav. Let's go first, U.S. Catch up with the regulars. Hell with this parade ground BS. Looks like that cavalry doesn't want to play. Start moving on Posey. First U.S., I'm going to have you stop and mount up. Go chase down this Cav regiment. Excuse me. Looks like they're turning to go move after my cavalry and ignoring my infantry altogether. That's fine, we'll just advance right up to the ridgeline. Hand me the objective point, I will take it. First U.S., come over here and get Mahone's Cav regiment. Yorkshire, you keep doing what you're doing. Actually, artillery, we're gonna have you cease fire before you start hitting our boys. want you to do that. Get in there and charge Mahomes' regiment. Take down this rebel cav, please. There they go. And they just broke, so let's retreat off with them. Okay, they're not glitching, alright. Don't need to fall back and get dismounted anyway. Sure, how we looking here? Good. Keep ripping Posey apart. You guys turn their back to my infantry like bloody fools. Handed me a victory, an easy victory. Pushing these skirmishers, don't want to get stuck in a long-range engagement with them. Need my infantry to stop parade ground antics. And they are retreating. Really. That's a new one. They realize they are in an untenable position. Oh, it should not be firing. Guys are stuck in a crossfire here trying to get away. This is hilarious. Keep gunning them down. First Mass, what the hell are you doing? Get the hell up there. we'll just speed this along now. So you're trying to get some parting shots in there. Alright. Not much of a fight. I said it wasn't going to be much of one. We lost 119 of our 22,000 infantry, 190 of our 4,700 cav. Total loss of 309 of our 28,112 men. Took down 950 of their 13,000 infantry, 100 or 200 cavalry. They had no guns on the field, so total loss 1,100 or 14,000 men. Ripley was smart enough to realize he was in an untenable position, though he could have set up better defensively. Let's take a quick look at the paperwork. Only the Yorkshire Yeomanry, the only viewer unit in this corps. Engineers did not fight. Wrong report. Alright, 1st U.S. Cav did 103 to infantry, 92 to cav, took 33 prisoners for a total of 231. Yorkshire Yeomanry did 567 to infantry, division total 798. They caused all the casualties for the most part. 16th Infantry Division, 1st Mass did 34 to infantry, 1st Indiana did 105 to infantry, division total 142. And the 5th Artillery Division, 1st U.S. Artillery did 60 to infantry, 6 to cav, total 66. 1st Native Battery did 19 to infantry, and the 2nd U.S. Artillery did 68 to infantry, division total 153. Highly doubtful we got any of their officers. They got divisions with 1 brigade in them. Yeah, we did wound 1. We wounded Brigadier General Cook. I'm a little surprised by that. Let's get closed out of here, and I'll see you all at the newspaper screen. A victory at the skirmish of Tishomingo, because that wasn't a battle, that was a skirmish. The enemies reported suffered total casualties of 1,081 men. There were 162 killed, 381 captured. Our casualties totaled 309 men, with 42 killed, 41 missing, and the rest are wounded. And we sent 381 soldiers to our catch and release program. And it looks like poor General Cook lost face for that battle. Well, that should have been blamed on Ripley. Though Ripley was just trying to do his job and speed bump us, but Cook shouldn't have taken the blame for that. Take a quick look at the map here. Like I said, we took Fort Towson. We've taken Fort Washita. We are pushing up here. What's the name of this fort? To Fort Arbuckle when Ripley decided to road bump us. We have secured Shreveport with 5th Corps. They're now building a supply depot because their readiness is garbage. I forgot we just fought a battle at Dallas right before we turned to April, so the readiness was pretty low on the March here, so I got to get their readiness back up. So I have emptied out and destroyed all the depots in Texas. 6th Corps still approaching New Orleans, and they should be there within the next day or two coming through these marshes. It's taking them a while to march through here. They're following a rail line and not an actual road. We have still not secured Fort St. Philippe nor Fort Macomb, though I'm probably just going to bypass them at this point and get the Gulf Squadron to start taking down the fortifications outside Mobile Bay. And 2nd Corps is quickly approaching Peoria. We resecured Springfield, so this should be our next combat up here. Let's start this map moving. We should have this any minute now. Withdrawing Hardy withdraws. Yeah, none of these forces down here in the Indian Territory want to fight because they just had their asses handed to them at the last Battle of Dallas. Nobody wants nothing. 7th Corps is still good on supply. We're just going to keep marching them up to the next fort. We'll have them stop there and build a depot after that siege is over. no combat anytime soon anywhere else. So we'll just have Army headquarters stay with 7th Corps. Depot empty. Not yet. All right, looks like Stevenson does not want to fight either. They're going to give Peoria back to us without even defending it. All right, looks like it'll be a little while here before we get another combat, so I'll be back. All right, it's now May 1st, and things are moving much more quickly than I had actually anticipated. We have secured Louisiana. 6th Corps has secured New Orleans and Baton Rouge. 5th Corps is in Shreveport. They're now both building themselves supply depots to get their readiness back up. 6th Corps is down pretty low because I had them marching through all these damn swamps. I didn't even let them rest in New Orleans to enjoy themselves. I immediately sent them up the road to Baton Rouge to secure that. Still waiting for 5th Corps' readiness to come up because I do need them to help in Arkansas. Probably 6th Corps will have to help also, just to secure it faster. We have been running roughshod in the Indian Territory, so we did secure Fort Arbuckle up here, but they'd thrown... Ripley's Corps had dug in around it as part of the siege, and then they threw Gregg's Corps into the siege also, so it took a lot longer than I anticipated and used up a lot more supplies. So as soon as we won the siege, 7th Corps immediately retreated back down towards Fort Washita. I do have them build a supply depot, get their supplies back up, and then we'll continue chasing the rebels through the Indian Territory by coming up here to secure Fort Cobb. Then we'll have half the territory secured. 2nd Corps, on the other hand, has been taking a grand tour. So, Stevenson's Corps did retreat north of us. I didn't bother chasing them. It looks like they're bringing them up to a strength of 14,000 men from the 5,000 they did have. So I may have to deal with them at some point. But we have resecured Springfield, Peoria, Quincy. They have now secured St. Joseph, Missouri, Leavenworth, Kansas. I did have them move them down the river towards St. Louis, but there was the New Orleans squadron is sitting here. So I guess they reconstituted that because I did destroy that squadron earlier in the game. So that's a reconstituted squadron. So McClellan's 2nd Corps, because they got chased off the river, is now retreating towards Rolla. But as soon as they're there, I'm just going to move them up the rail line into St. Louis. And maybe we can drag these corps into a battle with us. So get over 30,000 men. That'd be a nice little fight right there. So once we have St. Louis secured, that's it. We hold Missouri. Then we start pushing to Arkansas and squeezing them out. So we should have the rebels trapped in this little triangle here at Tahlequah, Fayetteville, and Fort Smith. We should have them trapped in the triangle here once the movements are complete. So I actually do think this is a good place to end this episode because we don't want this campaign coming to too early of a conclusion and moving along too fast. So a little shorter than normal, not too much in the way of fighting. So but we should have some good fights coming up, hopefully, if we don't run roughshod too heavily. So, as you saw with the armies in Texas, they just kind of threw away the soldiers in readiness over the winter trying to fight us down there. Once again, if you're a new viewer, returning viewer, you're not yet subscribed, please think about hitting that subscribe button. If you do, remember that bell icon so that the next video comes out. If you'd like a brigade in one of my armies, please let me know in the comments below. Type of unit, state its from, weapons and uniforms, officers, and I'll oblige on all counts if possible. And as always, comments, please do keep them coming. And I will see you all in the next episode. Stay grumpy.